Hey, Julianne, welcome in. How are you since the hour ago when I saw you last? I'm just gonna wait for a few minutes and see if anybody else is able to pop on. Hey, Sassy Mary, good morning. I want to welcome everybody into the Songbird's Nest. I'm so glad to have you here. Oh, yeah, I've got to send you an email. I haven't done that yet. Is your email address in your channel description? Oh, well, I'm glad I did. It's always fun. I'll tell you, I have been a rock hound ever since I was a really young kid. So, my love for rocks probably started when I was your son's age or maybe younger. And um, one of the things that really helped is, oh, yeah, we would have tons to talk about. One of the things that really helped is I lived on what at one time was a peony farm back in the 1800s. And we had rock piles all over the property from, back when they used to plow, they'd have to get all the rocks out of the way. So I had lots of rocks in piles all over the farm. So I just had a lot of fun being able to wander around the property and hunt rocks. Hey, baby. Nice to see you. Good morning. So I guess we've got enough people in here. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Just first of all, I'm going to give you a rundown of what tools I'm going to be using and just kind of go over what kind of paints I use. Um, so, and also I'm going to let you know um, other things that you can dot paint, do dot mandalas on besides just rocks. I mean, rocks are an obvious one; those are really popular lately. But there's a whole lot more that you can do with dot mandalas than just rocks. So the first thing I'm going to show you is my dotting tools. Now, I bought these as a set on Amazon, and they are really cool because they go from these metal dual tipped, try to get it to focus, dual tipped, well, maybe it won't focus. And so there's two different sizes. This one's a little larger and then this one's a bit smaller. And then there are just plain acrylic ones that are different sizes. So they kind of graduate in size from really small and get larger, and then even larger, and then a bit larger, even larger yet, and then this is my biggest one. Oh, and then this one is kind of in between. So yeah, so these are really nice to have if you want to paint dot mandalas. Now, You don't absolutely need something like this. If you have a pencil with an eraser on it, you can most definitely use that pencil eraser. You know, that's around this size, probably. I get on the camera. Yeah, it'd probably be around this size. So that'd be, you know, a good size to use for dotting. You can use, if you have toothpicks, yeah, or skewers, exactly, most definitely. Um, if you have knitting needles, you can use the point of a knitting needle for dotting. You know, you don't have to buy the fancy tools. Although I will say they're pretty cheap on Amazon. Another thing that I bought on Amazon when I started doing my dot mandalas was some paint palettes. These are really nice for squeezing out paint into, so they have something to work with. And they're nice because you can just wash them up and go. So, another thing that when I ordered just, I think it was just a package of um, dot mandala tools that they offered. One of the things that they offered were these stencils. Now, I don't normally use these when I'm painting rocks because the rocks that I paint are generally pretty small. So this stencil obviously is not going to do a lot of good on a rock that size. So, but if you're dotting, say, a canvas or something like that, and you want a little bit of a guideline, these are really handy to have. And I've got a set of them with, you know, different numbers of rays coming off the center. So yeah, these are nice to have. Now, as I said, I am going to be dotting some basalt pebbles that I picked up on Lake Michigan on the beach. I don't live far from Lake Michigan, so we are usually up there every summer, several times a summer, and these get washed up on the beach all over the place. So I just love to walk the beach, and I pick up lots of pretty rocks, but I also love picking these things up because they're just so neat too. They're great for skipping, but they're neat to paint on too. And then another thing that you can use to paint on, I found these little boogers. I think I got them at Hobby Lobby. Oh, Frizzy Bee, yeah, it does take some practice to skip stones. I used to be able to do it when I was a kid. I haven't tried it in years, so I don't know if I still could do it, but yeah, rock skipping is fun. But yeah, I have used these to, yep, Joann's, exactly. These aren't magnetic, but I'll talk about that in a second. And then I also bought several packages of these wooden circles. Hi, Kimberly. Welcome in. And these are fun to paint dot mandalas on. And I'm just going to show you real quick some of the dot mandalas that I've done on the little canvas squares. And my intention with these, because yeah, they are pretty to look at, but you know, what do you do with them? Well, these I intended to mount on magnetic, a magnetic backing. So I did buy several sheets on Amazon. This is like a magnetic sticker. So one side has the peel off thing, and you just basically cut it to the size and shape that you need. So I thought I would probably make a bunch of my little canvas mandalas into fridge magnets because, you know, we all need fridge magnets, right? Now these round wood ones, I think probably if you did your dot mandalas and then put a good waterproof coating on them, yes, those would make excellent Christmas gifts. If you put a good waterproof coating on these after you painted your mandalas on them, they'd make really nice coasters. I have a set of coasters about this size that one of my best friends in Illinois did. She does wood burning. She does an absolutely beautiful job of wood burning, and she did a set of wood burned mandala coasters for me. So, yeah. Hello, Amber. Welcome in. Yes, with some cork on the bottom, that would be perfect. Although the set that she made me, that she wood burned, she didn't put cork on the bottom, and they work just great anyway. Okay, so just a quick run through of what kinds of paints I use. I have just a real basic acrylic color set, but then I also have bottles and bottles and bottles of different colors of paints. Now I have like just tons of the different metallics. I also have some little bottles of interference paints, which are kind of a color changing paint. Those are fun to use. This one is interference green, so it kind of does like a shift between like a green and gold. And then I've got interference blue. And then I was doing a big project. I was doing a stenciling project on a small dresser, and I've got a big jar of, this is interference gold. So it looks kind of white, but then if the light hits it the right way, it shifts to gold. It's not really ombre, Julianne. It is like more like a color shifting paint. So you've probably seen those cars with the finishes on them where one way it'll look green and then the other direction it'll look pink, depending on how the light hits it. Well, that's the same type of paint this is. So, all right. So, another thing that's real handy to have when you're doing this project is a cup of water just to rinse your tools in, and maybe some paper towel. I just happen to have part of a roll of toilet paper that I grabbed out of the bathroom to use for washing my tools up when they change colors. So I guess at this point, we can go ahead and get started. I'm going to shift my camera downward so that it's looking down at the table and you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, that should work. All right, so I'm just going to grab any old rock off my tray of rocks, and I think I'll start this one out with my medium-sized dotting tool. And so you just want to dip it. Let me try to get this paint a little more into view. You just want to dip it and get the end of your dotting tool covered with paint. And then it's just as simple as and you don't even have to press down to the rock. Just touch it enough that you transfer your paint from the tip of your tool down to your rock. Now, what's fun about this style of painting is that you don't necessarily have to do a round mandala. Here's a rock that I'm not really sure just when I painted it. It's probably been years ago, but I just kind of did my dotting to match the shape of the rock. So that's fun too. Okay, so I'm just going to work in a little bit of blue. And what I do is I kind of try to like work from side to side. And this is where the little stencil thing comes in handy because it helps you with the spacing. But for a rock, you just kind of have to eye it. Especially since this rock is, you know, no more than about an inch by an inch and a half or so. So, you know, you just kind of eye what you're doing. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and take my really tiny, well, maybe not the tiniest one. This is kind of a fairly small one. I wish it would focus on these ends better so you can see. And just some dots in between the blue. Now, I will tell you, it's funny. I used to have a whole bunch of these, and I did an artisan market one year at Christmas time, and I had a bunch of these rock mandalas that I had made up and put resin over them to keep the paint on really well. And, you know, it kind of gives the rock a nice little bit of a polish. Yeah, that sounds... Yes, this would make a fun craft night project, most definitely. Now I'm going to go to my really itty bitty one, and I'm just going to kind of do some really tiny dots around the blue. But when I had these at the artisan market, I was only selling them for $1 a piece, and kids were just jumping all over them. They loved them. And that's part of the reason I set the price so low. I figured kids would like them, and that'd be a price that their parents would be willing to give them $1 to buy a rock, you know. Okay, so here's what we've got so far. Okay. Gotta take my glasses off. It's hard for me to. I just cannot work with my glasses on when I'm doing close-up small stuff. So we can go ahead, I think, and call that one done. Now, when you do these with acrylics on rocks, one thing that you probably will want to do is just put them up somewhere to dry for a couple of weeks before you put any other type of finish on them. So if you want to, you know, put something on to make it shiny or seal it, just give it some good time to dry before you put any type of sealer on it. Hello, Samantha. Welcome in. Nice to see you. You see a face in the center? Really? That's interesting. Maybe it's, I don't know, that's, huh. So now I'm going to move on to a really little rock. I mean, this rock is what, maybe 3/4 of an inch by, oh, maybe just over an inch long. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to do something just a little different. I'm going to start my dotting down here at one end of the rock rather than right in the center. little more there than I wanted. Now, the nice thing about working with acrylic paints is, of course, if they start to dry out a bit on your palette, you can just dip your dotting tool into your cup of water and add a little bit of water into the mix. Now, if I can pick this one up without ending up with paint everywhere. Yep, that's kind of what I was going for, Julianne. I don't. I've got one here somewhere that I did that was kind of on the order of a spiral galaxy. This one is kind of a spiral. And then this one here is another one of my favorites. Of course, a snowflake, perfect for this time of year. We are getting our first snow of the year today. Well, it started last night, probably middle of the night. Pardon me while I have some coffee. I think I am going to I have obviously never opened this paint. So try out some of this interference paint, see what it does for us. Oh, haven't opened this one either. Hey, Rebecca. That one has been sitting around for a while, and it's, if I don't use it, it's going to be all a dried up rock of paint before too long. Oh yeah, and I just painted my computer. Wonderful. I went up and added to my coffee that I had brought down with me earlier. 45-mile-an-hour winds. Holy moly. We're supposed to get some wind. I think they were saying up to 30-mile-an-hour gusts, maybe, around here. Okay, that did not mix very well. I guess I should have taken some time and maybe it's mixing now. Should have shaken up my paints before I started this live. Yes, now we've got color. Now, I'm not picky about what kind of paints I use, so this paint is just a little bottle of scribbles. I think you can buy them at Joann Fabrics for real cheap. I don't remember exactly what that cost me, maybe 50 cents, something like that. And I'm sure I probably bought them on sale, so they were probably really super cheap. Okay, I think I've got enough to get started with. So let's see if the camera will catch this. So you can see that this paint, if the light hits it one direction, it looks white, but if the light hits it the other direction, it shifts to gold. Oh yeah, Rebecca, when I was a kid, the farm we used to live on in Michigan, the area that I lived in was basically a lot of open fields, and yeah, nothing to block the wind. And we would get snow drifts across our road like crazy. And what was funny is my parents were of the opinion that if the school bus couldn't get down the road to get us, we didn't need to go to school. And being that we lived so far out from the school, it was quite often that, yeah, there would be school and yeah, there would be bus service, but they weren't going to bring it down our road. So we would end up getting a snow day when nobody else did. This paint is rather interesting. It's not got much body to it. Hopefully when this dries, this color shifting paint, because it's kind of on the thin side and fairly translucent, which is kind of interesting. So I'm hoping that when it dries, it'll really show the color. So there's a real tiny one. Like I said, that color shifting paint. Now the green one actually is doing pretty good, but that blue, I think it's going to have to really dry before it shifts color real well. This one almost matches the rock too well. I don't think I'm going to use that one. Maybe it would be good for or not. And there we go. Yes, they do work up really quick. Hi, Louise. How are you doing? Welcome in. On the paper near my hand. I'm not. It's hard to see what I'm working on anyway because I'm not really, my camera isn't really with me working flat and the camera viewing it kind of almost from the top. It's not really showing that well anyway. I wonder if I could move my camera. down on the table and get any better view. It doesn't look like it. That's not gonna happen. Maybe that's a little better. I think I'm actually going to work on, let me just check my box of rocks over here and see if I have any that are a little bigger. Yeah, this one's a bit bigger. Julianne, talking about the wind howling. The wind will funnel down between my house and my neighbor's house. And I guess there's probably maybe 15 or 20 feet between us. And it will really howl. Also, what's kind of interesting is our roof is old, but it has never really leaked except for one time we had this storm that had just absolutely crazy wind in it. And it blew the rain up and kind of like under where the eaves troughs are, and managed to get into the house. Which was kind of scary because at the time that happened, my big screen TV was pretty much sitting right in that area. Needless to say, the living room got changed around. And then after the storm, my hubby got up on the roof and figured out where it had blown in at and fixed that so that it wasn't going to happen again. What you doing, Icy? You're being such a good boy. So far, we've just got a little flower going on here. Oh, how's that working out, Amber? I've got some scrubby yarn somewhere in my stash that I should dig out and do some whatchamacallits. Back when I first got all the scrubby yarn, I did several scrubbies for the kitchen, but then I made one. I just made a small bright pink one and put a little loop on it to hang it, and I use that as a face scrubby in the shower. I really like it. Now, Julianne, you were talking about how quickly these can work up. You could actually even work on several at a time, kind of do like assembly line them. I have done that. Well, that one just does not want to cooperate. I got a rock. Yeah. You know what, though? I
would be more than happy to get a rock. Sometime I'll have to do a live stream and tell you guys, show you this rock and tell you the story behind it. I've got a rock that is very special to me. And it's a very nondescript rock. I mean, it isn't beautiful or anything, but the story behind it makes it very beautiful to me. I'll have to bring it down here in next live stream. I'll tell the story. I supposed to. Hey Beth. Hey Monique. Thank you for leaving a thumbie. I appreciate ya. And Beth, you are more than welcome to do house things and lurk. Of course, I'm not saying a whole lot. I think the fun is in the chat. Wow, I can't believe we've got 8 people here. That's just crazy. Oh, goodness. I think as soon as I finish this one, guys, we are going to go ahead and call this a live because we are at an hour already. I should really have some background music, nice soothing background music to listen to while I'm doing this. Might not be quite as boring. I can say I did a live stream and literally got you guys to watch paint dry. How about that? My dog's down here on the floor beside me snoring. Hmm. Well, what are you working on, Rebecca? What kind of Amy is it? Yes, Shokri, a different project. Well, okay, yellow. It's not wanting to cooperate at all. Oh, a weasel. Okay. That's why Kim was talking about a weasel. So did you find a pattern for it? Or did you have a pattern for it? Well, that just... Oh, okay. Gotcha, Rebecca. Totally understand. Sometimes those patterns can be a little crazy. And a lot of times, I think that when you think the pattern, that something isn't quite right and you don't know if it's you or if it's the pattern, a lot of times I think it is the pattern. Yeah, Amber, I'm definitely going to try that. You've inspired me. Okay, I think I probably should have left the yellow off this one, but I'm going to call that done. I probably should have put some fresh yellow paint on the palette. Maybe I can go back after it's totally dry and tweak it a little bit. Well, I'm glad you like it, Elizabeth. Thank you. You're kind. All right, come on, camera. Oh, okay, guys. Well, thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate you guys. You're very kind. So I am going to call that the end of this video. I hope that you guys will decide to give it a try. And as Julianne said, this would be a fun craft night project. It'd be a fun one that you could do with the kids, because, you know, you put a piece of plastic down on the table, and acrylic paints are water-based, so, you know, they'll wash off. So, you know, give your kids some dotting tools and some acrylic paints and some rocks, or, you know, little square canvas pieces or whatever, and let them go to town. I think it's a great art project for kids, definitely. But it is also really relaxing, because there's just something very zen about, you know, sitting here with some nice music on and just, you know, relaxing and just painting dots. I mean, it's pretty basic. So, yeah, I think students would really enjoy it, Rebecca, definitely. So at this point, I guess I would let everybody get on with their day. I am going to run upstairs and grab something to eat. This is about the time of day when I usually have my first meal. So I'm going to go ahead and grab something to eat. Yeah, you know, a lot of adults do enjoy rock painting. And there are a lot of Facebook groups. Different towns will have, um, like, my friend lives up in Jackson, Michigan, and they have a Jackson Rocks. So, you know, people will paint rocks and take them out to different places around town and leave them. And then if you find one, what you're supposed to do is, leave one. So, yeah, that way, you know, the rocks aren't getting depleted. You know, there are new rocks being put out all the time. So, and my friend, that's what she would do, is she would paint up a bunch of rocks, and then she'd go out for a hike somewhere, and, you know, she'd find rocks and she'd leave one of hers in, you know, behind. And then a lot of times on the back of the rock, they will put their Facebook group and ask you to take a picture of the rock that you found and post it on their group. So yeah, we have it here too. There's one park that my hubby and I go to walk the dog that I have found a few. So most of the painted rocks that I've got, if they're not ones that I've done,
came from my friend up in Jackson. She painted quite a few for me. So, but anyway, as I said, I'm going to let everybody go. Have a, get on with your day. Instead of sitting here with me watching paint dry. So I hope everybody has a great day. And thanks so much for coming and spending time with me. Take care until we meet again. Bye, Amber.